Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with ArnoldClark.com. It's Ali McCoy, Andros Townsend and Natalie Sawyer with you until 10 o'clock this morning. Now, we have already been talking about Gareth Southgate and that 33-man provisional England squad for the Euros this summer. The squad will be narrowed down to 26 next Tuesday. Following the announcement, Southgate revealed he wants his captain, Harry Kane, to be fully focused on England and not his club future.
I don't ever need to have a conversation with Harry Kane regarding focus or professionalism. He has got one goal this summer whilst with us, and that's to win a European Championship. And I know how important that is for him at this moment in time. What's going on at his club is a matter for him and Tottenham. He's obviously made some statements in the last few days, so in many respects that's out of the way now, and I don't think I'm talking across the board here. I think it's very unlikely that transfer deals will be done while we're away. I'm very realistic about those things. We're not going to stop phones ringing. We can't control conversations that are going on in private. But I wouldn't expect, I think most deals are done at the end of tournaments, or they're done in the first week after the end of the season. And I would expect anything across the board with our players to be after the tournament.
Really interesting to hear that from Gareth Southgate then on what he thinks is going to be happening with Harry Kane. We imagine this is going to be quite protracted, this situation with Harry Kane, and whether or not he will move from Tottenham this summer. It all points in that direction as though he wants to leave. Andros, we were talking in the break and I asked you a question about being involved in a squad where a player you know is linked with a move away from their respective clubs and how disruptive it could be. And actually you then said you were involved in an England squad and you were a player that was linked with a move away. You know, Gareth Southgate has said that he fully expects Harry Kane to be focused, but can you be completely focused on international duty when you might not quite know what's happening with your club future?
Yes, I think you can. If I go back to my situation in 2016, I was linked with a move away from Newcastle if they got relegated. And similar to what Harry Kane did, I had a few conversations. I had a conversation with the manager and my agent before I linked up with England. And then after that, I was like, right, let me focus on England. And then whatever happens after the tournament or after the squad gets announced, and then after that we'll discuss my future. So I think Harry Kane's done the right thing. He's kind of sowed the seed a week ago.
That's politely put.
Yeah. And then I think he'll fully focus on England. He'll have his agent, Daniel Levy, all of those guys will be talking in the background, letting Harry focus on England. And then afterwards they'll all come together and make a decision. But even if Harry Kane does want to leave or does leave, it's got deadline day written all over it.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Daniel Levy's going to squeeze every penny he can out of any buying club. So, yeah, it's going to be protracted.
But what about within the England squad? Now, we're discussing it openly as we are, but surely, obviously, when everyone links up, inevitably, people will start talking about it. I guess at some point, the manager, Gareth Southgate, will have to say, we can't talk about this. We've got to focus on England. But it's very difficult when someone, and especially someone like Harry Kane, who is the England captain, who is the talisman for Tottenham, it's going to be the talk of the dressing room, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there'll be table chat, and I think table chat is fine. There'll be players asking him where he's going. There'll be Man City players, United players trying to recruit him seriously and for banter. So there'll be a lot of that going on, but that's just table chat. That won't be stuff that's detracting from what England are trying to do. So I think that side of it is fine.
Do you get fined in the England team for things? I'm just wondering if Gareth Southgate would say, listen, it's all right around the breakfast table, but nowhere else. And if suddenly somebody mentioned it in the dressing room, would you get fined for that? Did they do that?
No. The dressing room and the dining table, you can say what you want.
I don't see it. Listen, I don't see it being a problem at all. I think Harry Kane's just too professional.
Yeah,
it really is. I think the way he conducts himself.
I just want to stir it.
I know,
it's fun.
I know. But Harry,
not that Tottenham fans.
You're not going to get that with Harry Kane.
No.
He's just, everything's meticulous. He's a great pro. Here's one for you, Andros. Do you think there's a not? You said it'll go right down to the wire, right? And I understand that. Do you think there's a potential that maybe Harry Kane knows maybe 2 or 3 clubs that are willing to put that money up?
Of course, as a player before.
I knew the answer to that question. I just
wanted me to say it. Yeah, as a player who's interested, who has the money, who doesn't have the money. So he'll know exactly who wants him, and he'll be keeping to that to himself. But yeah, he wouldn't have made the comments he made last week if there wasn't any solid offers in for him.
So where is he best placed, do you think? Where could he? Well, no, I'm not letting you say that. But no, obviously Tottenham fans want him to stay, but I think there are a large majority of Tottenham fans who will actually be saying he's done as much as he could have done for this club. He deserves now to start winning trophies, and we know that's what he has talked about with that interview with Gary Neville, and he's talked about emulating Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. So where can he do that?
I think there's only one club for me. Knowing Harry Kane, knowing his character, he wants that Premier League all-time goal-scoring record. So he wants to stay in the Premier League. If that interview is anything to go by, he wants to win trophies. There's only one club for me that's guaranteed to win trophies in the Premier League.
He's not saying it.
Because I'm going to get battered, so I want to prolong it. I'm going to get battered on social media. I'm going to say the only club for me that's guaranteed to win titles is Man City. So for me, there's only one club.
Why do you think you're going to get abuse for that as such?
Because then you've got Liverpool fans, you've got Chelsea fans, you've got United fans, you've got Arsenal fans, you've got Spurs fans.
But I think there are a lot of people that would agree with you. We know that year on year, Manchester City wins something, and he's never won anything.
No, I think, listen, he wants guaranteed trophies, and there's no one better than Pep Guardiola and Man City if you want guaranteed trophies to go to.
And Ali, it's of course who can afford him, and we know that Manchester City can.
Of course they can. The one thing you would say though, Guardiola is always very, very guarded in terms of he does throw caution and say, look, I'm not prepared to spend, go big, you know, which is a bit surprising when you think of some of the money he has spent. But I hear what he's saying, but you would think if there was anybody that you would break the bank for, again, Haaland and Kane are the two that spring to mind immediately, Mbappe obviously, but I just think I'm with Andros. I mean, I could see Harry Kane playing centre forward for Manchester United. I could, yeah. Cavani's just signed a new deal for a year. I get that, but I mean, could you imagine the opportunities Harry Kane will get in that Manchester City
De Bruyne. Oh my God!
Honestly, it would be.
Well, as Gabby Agbonlahor said, turn the bus around. You don't want to be playing them, do you?
And he's got a point. I mean, we've saw how effective that City have been this year, sometimes without playing a centre forward. I know Jesus has played and scored goals, but you know, he's played the two kind of false nines, whether it's De Bruyne or Gundogan and things like that. But I just look at that Manchester City team and I think, oh, Harry Kane would have a field day. He'd have an absolute field day. The opportunities that they would be creating.
Some of those crosses Kevin De Bruyne's put in this season, just crying out for a Harry Kane or a Haaland or an Mbappe to get on the end of.
I mean, Manchester City have been incredible with the way that they've kept everyone guessing, haven't they? With the lineup and the false number 9s and all that sort of stuff, and who will be playing where. So it's been really intriguing. But we know with Sergio Aguero leaving, it's a question of do they want to bring someone in to replace him, or will Pep Guardiola continue to go down this route of mixing it up with his players? But what was really interesting as well with the Harry Kane interview is it feels as though, and this is how I'm analysing it, I'm sure many people are similar, it was very much a psychological interview. I thought he was putting a lot of the pressure on Daniel Levy, telling Daniel Levy that, you know, I'm not going to be worth X amount of money in 2 or 3 years' time. So we all know how great a businessman Daniel Levy is. I say great in terms of himself and his shrewd businessman. But Harry Kane sort of referred to himself as 100 million. Where do you value Harry Kane?
I'd say a lot more.
That's
I'd say
the problem.
150 million. But knowing Daniel Levy, knowing what he did with Luka Modric 5 or 10 years ago, if it's to a Premier League, he's not going to want Harry Kane's price. He's going to want more, because not only is he weakening his club, but he's strengthening a rival. So for me, around the 150 million mark, but with Daniel Levy, it could be anything.
I'm just bamboozled with figures here. I can remember, was it Trevor Francis? Trevor was the first £1 million £1 million player. I played with Trevor. And a brilliant player. Now,
I thought you were going to say he wasn't worth it.
Oh no, he was a great player, Trevor. But it's amazing. You know, these are numbers that are getting thrown about. Andros is 100% right. You know, from Spurs' point of view, if they are going to lose Harry Kane, they've got the right man in charge, and that's Daniel Levy. Yeah. That's the point I would try to make. And it was, the interview with Harry Kane was excellent. You know, because he didn't really say anything 100%, but he threw a lot of things out there.
Oh yeah,
you know, and
that fishing line was thrown out.
He's an intelligent man, But if I was a betting man, I don't think he'll be at Spurs. Like, I think that they'll come to a deal. And Spurs have shown before, although they understandably correctly say they don't like doing it, but they do sell players on to other Premier League clubs and other opposition.
I think to leave a football club now, if you're a big player, you have to kind of force your way out. But Harry, he loves Spurs. He got so much respect for Spurs, so he can't do that. So that interview, dissecting that interview and reading between the lines in that interview was brilliant, because he was saying it but not saying it.
That's probably as tough as he's going to get. Is that what you're saying with Harry Kane? Oh dear. Well, as we said, Gareth Southgate believing that whatever happens, Harry Kane will very much be focused on England when that Euros come around, but he's perhaps got an unsettling summer to look forward to.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.